Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. Today I have a bit of a self-indulgent video for you. I wanted to go through some of my prettiest books, at least some of the ones that I find the most beautiful. So I have a big stack next to me and I will go through them with you. Hopefully you can find some interesting recommendations. I know that we usually say that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but today that's exactly what we're gonna do. So let's start. The first one is a graphic novel by Alix Garin. This is Ne m'oublie pas, Don't Forget Me. And this is about Clémence and her grandmother. Her grandmother has Alzheimer's and she wants to enjoy life before it's too late. So her granddaughter kind of sneaks her out of the senior living facility that she's in, and they go on a trip together. It's beautifully illustrated. I love the style, the color palette. It's very soft pastel colors, and it was a very lovely read as well. So this one lives up to the beauty of its cover. Next we have this book about Venice. This is more a coffee table type of book. It's quite thick, quite heavy, but it has like lots of beautiful pictures, a beautiful layout as well. Gorgeous map of Venice at the beginning. I'm a bit sucker for maps. Well, I just said I was a sucker for maps. This one is Map Mania. I can't read the name of the author, I'm sorry. It's a beautiful, again, coffee table type of book. About maps, so you have just a wide variety of designs. It's really gorgeous and really interesting. I love that kind of books. So this is another comic book. This is L'Oasis, so The Oasis by Simon Hureau, and it's about this guy who starts like a very diverse garden in his backyard and kind of turns the place into this oasis. And again, the illustration style is just gorgeous. That this is the inside paper, and yeah, I love this type of illustrations as well. It's just beautiful. This one is a heavy one. This is M.M. Personal by Lois Banner, and this is kind of a lot of personal archives from Marilyn Monroe. So again, coffee table kind of book with lots of kind of notes, pictures, journal slips and things like that. Alright, this is non-fiction. This is Why Women Grow about Alice Vincent, and I just love like the color illustration with the flowers, kind of the contrast with the black. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. Probably on the list of the 24 books from my physical TBR that I still have to make. This is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. So this is a fantasy book, a really fun read. It's one of the books a few years back when I was in a reading slump that kind of got me back into fantasy and made me realize that actually I do love fantasy. So now it has like a bit of a special place in my heart, and just the illustration is incredible, and I love the kind of silvery feel of the cover as well. The next one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is the 10-year anniversary edition. I'm still yet to read this, but I've heard so many good things, so I'm pretty confident that, again, this is a book that would live up to the beauty of its cover. Next we have the trilogy His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, in this kind of classic feeling edition, kind of cloth bound. It's really pretty. I love it, and as I've mentioned already, like His Dark Materials is among my favorite books from my childhood. So yeah, again, a special one. This one is a French classic by Abbé Prévost. This is like a beautiful golden edition that I found in a little library during a trip in France. So yeah, I remember studying this when I was in high school, I think. and quite enjoying it. I don't have a very clear memory of the story, to be honest, but I'm glad to have this edition and hope to revisit someday. Next, this is the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, another classic that I found in a secondhand bookshop in La Rochelle when I used to live there, and it's just gorgeous. I don't remember the name of the publisher, but I know that it's a publisher that's kind of specialized in those beautiful editions. I'm trying to see. Okay, it's called Jean de Bonneau. And so they are specialized in those beautiful editions. I think this one has a defect though, because this side is golden and gorgeous, but then the rest of the book don't have it. So maybe that's why it was quite cheap in the second hand book, and I was really excited by this find. Next, another, I think we're seeing a theme there. Like, if there is gold on the cover, it looks like I'm a sucker for this. So this is Et à la fin il meurt by Lou Luby. So, and at the end they die. I spoke about this in another video. I don't know if it's up yet. I'm not sure in which order I will publish those, but again, a beautiful illustrated book. And this is about kind of the true story and the true origin of fairy tales. This one is a Swedish book, Nordiska Väsen. This is about kind of Nordic beings, kind of the creatures living in the Swedish forests, and again, beautifully illustrated. You can see kind of mythology focused, and yeah, this one is in Swedish. This is a present I got for Christmas. This is the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows by John Cunning. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is basically a dictionary, also illustrated, with kind of made up words to describe specific emotions that we don't have words for. I'm really excited about this. I haven't read it yet, but I think it's the kind of book that you kind of cherry pick in and not necessarily like read from the first to the last page, but I love this idea of having kind of more vocabulary for emotions. Next, this is Voyage aux origines de l'espèce, so Travel to the Origins of Species. I don't know what's the original title in English. This is by Charles Darwin's, obviously. It's a classic as well, again from a second-hand shop. It's quite fragile, so I usually don't really manipulate it that much because I don't want it to break, but yeah, it's gorgeous and like quite an old book, and yeah, I really love it. Okay. This is a novel de Pierre Edos. I'm not sure if it's been translated. This is by Bérangère Cournu, and I just love the cover illustration. It's such a pretty book. This is about an Inuit girl who's kind of stuck on a piece of ice that's kind of floating away, and so it's her kind of survival story. Still something that I need to read. It's on my kind of physical TBR book, so maybe this year I will get to it, but at the very least I can enjoy the pretty cover. Okay, this is another fantasy trilogy. This is La Quête des Willan by Pierre Bottero. And so my friend Marjolaine, who is a bookshop owner, she recommended this to me. This is the 20-year anniversary, I believe, and so basically in the same way that His Dark Materials was one of my favorite books when I was a kid, this was one of her favorite books. So she recommended this to me and I'm very excited to dive in. Next we have The Bandit Queens by Parine Schroff. This is a very biting, funny book about Gita, whose husband has disappeared, and so the rest of the village thinks that she has murdered her husband, and so she's quite happy about that, but then things start to get a bit complicated when other women come to her to help them get rid of their husband. Again, I really enjoyed this. I think the cover illustration is just so pretty, and this was a really good book, so I would recommend. And the last one for today, so this is a whole series with 4 books. I'm only showing this one because I was already carrying quite a big stack of heavy books today. But this is Les Fiancées de l'Hiver by Christelle Dabos. This is translated definitely into English, it's available. This is La Passe Miroir in French. I think it's called The Mirror Traveler in English. And it's a fantasy series. I loved the first one. I think it's the best of the series. I absolutely adored this book and devoured it very quickly. And then like the 4th one is a bit more like philosophical, abstract. I didn't vibe as much. I know that some people were a bit disappointed by the ending, but honestly like the first one is absolutely worth it, and the rest of the series as well is quite interesting. I quite enjoyed it. Even if the ending is not what we would have expected or what we would have wanted, I think it's still very worth a read. And yeah, again, this one is one of my favorite books, so highly recommend. So that's it for today. Those were some of my prettiest books. Most of them, I think we had quite a theme with kind of the gold on the cover. I hope you had a good time, and yeah, please let me know in the comments which ones are your favorites, and what are your prettiest books as well. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.